Hello again, Faceyland. I hope you all are well. This is Melanie Teresa coming to you live again with some very special guests. This is one of the interviews I've really been looking forward to. I have angel parents, Mary Mendoza and Steve Ronnebeck. Is that how you pronounce your last name? Good. Meant to ask you that before we got on there. That would have been a good idea. But we were busy chatting about lots of things. These are both angel parents who lost sons to illegal aliens, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk to you too, for obvious reasons, is because people need to put faces and names with people and connect that to the wall, that these are real people. So first, I'd like you to both each tell me about your sons, if you would.
Brandon was a police officer in Mesa, Arizona, and he was on his way home from work on the early morning of May 12, 2014. And a repeat illegal alien criminal who'd been drinking all day, was 3 times the legal limit drunk, high on meth, drove over 35 miles the wrong way and slammed head on into my son on a blind curve. He didn't even know what was coming. And my son ultimately died in surgery a few hours later. It was a very integral part of a community, worked with children, and so it's not only a loss to my family, but to the whole community there in Mesa.
For sure. And what about your son?
Grant was 21 years old. He was working the overnight shift at Quick Trip, his job. Man came in and wanted to buy cigarettes, dumped a jar of change out on the counter. Grant went to start counting the change. This man said, "What, you're not going to give me my cigarettes?" And Grant tried to explain to him, "Hey, I can count your change." This man pulled a gun, pointed it at Grant. Grant did everything he was supposed to do. Grant handed over the cigarettes. And as soon as Grant handed over the cigarettes, this man shot him point blank in the face. He then walked around the counter. He stepped over Grant's body, grabbed a couple packs of cigarettes, and left the store. We found out later that afternoon that man was brought here illegally when he was 14, so he was a dreamer. He had been arrested 2.5 years prior for holding a woman captive naked for 10 days, sexually assaulting her over that 10 days, him, his wife, and another man. He was able to plead his crime down to felony burglary and never did a day in prison. He was on day 745 of his ICE bond.
That is stunning. So the assertion that these dreamers are just these innocents, all of them. I just love how we treat these groups of people as monoliths, like any group of people. We're all individuals. All of the dreamers are just these kids who just want to make it in the United States, who were brought here, without, but because of circumstances beyond their control, because of their parents, and they're just these innocents.
At least 50% of them are not what they're portrayed to be. They've either committed crimes, they're on the welfare system, they're not contributing members of society, having a job. American taxpayers are supporting them. If they revamp that whole Dreamer DACA program, at least 50% of them would be pushed out of the program because they are allowed to commit up to 3 misdemeanors under the DACA guidelines. And a lot of times the defense attorney gets a felony pled down to a misdemeanor because the judge understands if we keep it as a misdemeanor, they'll be able to stay in the DACA program. So what's going on in our country, that people don't know.
What Mary didn't tell you is even if it is still a felony, if they have children that were born here, they somehow are able to skirt the system and stay.
Yes.
If it's a violent felony, then probably not. But that's why he was able to plead this down to felony burglary, because it isn't a violent crime.
To sexually assault a woman for 10 days.
How is a sexual assault not a violent crime? I'm trying to figure that out.
He wasn't charged with
Says
that.
anybody who's never been sexually assaulted, apparently,
Well,
thinks it's not a violent crime.
but he wasn't charged with it. He was arrested for it.
But didn't get that. That wasn't the charge.
That wasn't the charge he was tried on. Because not only did they rape this woman, held her captive naked, but they filled her full of heroin for the 10 days. and then they threatened to kill her, and which made her an unreliable witness because she was scared to death.
Of course.
Of course. But this is what they do, and they're not doing this just to, they're doing this to not only, our citizens, but it's fellow illegal immigrants.
Exactly. So what you sat and watched the hearings regarding this matter as Angel parents? What do you observe while you're in these hearings? We were talking off air and you were saying that you're not allowed to speak.
No.
During these hearings.
Unless we're at the hearing and we've been scheduled to speak. But this was the last one we were at was a Democratic hearing, so we were only able to be in the audience.
That's absolutely
But,
stunning.
we had Congressman Andy Biggs from Arizona and Congressman Louis Gohmert from Texas.
Love him.
And,
He's fantastic.
What was the one who recognized us? The one who,
Collins.
Yes.
Congressman Collins.
Sure.
They announced that we were in the audience, to let them know that they did have angel families present. And then Andy Biggs did show pictures of Steve and I and Marla Wolf, an angel wife, at the gravesite of our loved ones in the hearing to kind of point out this is permanent separation versus a 21-day separation.
Exactly.
And they act like these children are being ripped out of their parents' arms and women are slapped and thrown into jail and the kids are put into cages when in reality they're trying to find out if these children really belong to the people who brought them.
Right.
Because we all know the human smuggling and they know the ticket to asylum hearing and being released into our country internally for their hearing that they'll never show up to
Right.
is a child at their side. They know that's the ticket to do it.
That was literally the Democrats' phrase of the day. It was ripped from the arms of their parents.
Yes.
Ripped from the arms of their parents. Ripped. We heard it over and over and over throughout this.
And our sons were ripped from our lives forever.
And that's a pertinent point. And I want you to tell the audience what you told me about how Democrats, or I shouldn't say Democrats, I shouldn't say all Democrats think alike, but people who are against the law, people who are against greater security, how they react to you when they see you in the audience. How do those people, we talked about a little bit off air, how do they react to you?
Well, I had stare downs with a couple of them, with some of the things they were saying, and I was just shaking my head when they were talking, and they knew, and then of course when Andy Biggs had the pictures up of us, then they knew exactly who we were, and so we were kind of targeted with some hateful looks, but
we were glared at, and to some extent, well, actually to a lot of extent, it was just a look of disdain. And we're not important.
And that is, I find, if you're a human being of any kind, I would think that has any kind of heart, how you feel anything but empathy for someone who's lost a child is beyond me. I don't understand that. I don't care what you're even if you are politically against the law, why are they feeling that way toward you? That's what I am very confused about, but I think it just speaks to the agenda. And it speaks to, frankly, the evil of the agenda.
Well, and what really, really bothered me was Congresswoman Deming from Florida. She was really very attackful and kind of hateful is really the word that comes to mind. That she was, talking to the interim border patrol chief and Mrs. Asher from ICE, and then Congressman McClintock started talking and asked the Border Patrol, tell us some good things you've done about rescuing immigrants. And she was telling some stories about, them rescuing people out in the desert. And Congresswoman Deming was looking at Congressman McClintock. I mean, if looks could kill, he would have been dead in his chair because she didn't want the good that Border Patrol is doing to be brought to the surface in this hearing. They wanted to continue to demonize our Border Patrol agents. And, Congresswoman Scanlon actually called her a Nazi.
Wow.
In this hearing.
That's stunning.
Jayapal, Congresswoman Jayapal.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. The hate was just seeping out of her.
Oh, yeah. It was nothing but asking a question, talking over the answer, and asking the next question. There was no opportunity for these people to defend their department or themselves. And this was the whole point of this hearing. We literally, there was no chance for anyone to answer a question.
A few of them let congressional members in these committees, and the first few people that are going to speak are in their chairs when this hearing starts.
Sure.
And then their assistants or interns let them know you're 2 speakers away from speaking, and then they'll come in from their offices and sit in a chair. They haven't listened to what's been going on.
I did not know that.
And they repeat the same questions because they're not there to hear it. They have 5 minutes to speak. They're repeating the same questions that 5 other people have asked. And when the witnesses say, as I said earlier in my testimony, it's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what's going on. They don't care to get the truth. They don't care to get to the bottom of it. They don't care to solve these problems.
What you just said, I don't think a whole lot of people knew. I didn't know that. I don't think that they're back in their offices and they come out 2 minutes before.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that because it looks like they're there for the entire hearing.
Oh, if they're there for the entire hearing, it's because it's televised.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's on C-SPAN, but I mean, yeah, live TV, like the Cohen
If it's
hearings, of course they were going to be there for that.
Yeah, but most of them, and now
Any of these committee hearings.
the Republicans, many of them were there through the whole thing. But the Democrats would show up towards the end when it's their turn. And you can see their aides are sitting up there and they're waiting, they're texting, okay, it's going to be your turn. So, and then they show up, they come in. Literally, this is the lack of interest in this.
Well, they're on a committee, but they're not listening to the testimony of the witnesses.
Right. How are you not?
To be able to come to a full conclusion on what we need to do to solve
They
this
don't
problem.
really want the testimony. They don't want it.
Well, clearly not if you're not there. You don't want it.
Well, it's not just that. They are using that time to ask the question, make the right or Border Patrol or ICE look bad.
Right.
They're not waiting for the answer. They're talking over them. They're accusing of this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And they don't want the answer. They don't want any, defense. They're just saying what they got to say, and then when they're done, they leave.
That's ridiculous. I would love for you two to tell me about the Coalition of Angel Families and what they do, the work that they do.
Well, we've gathered a strong group of angel families that really has fought in the past for legislation in their states and stuff. And we are actually going to start talking and engaging more with politicians and some who may be on the opposing side of us, just to find some common ground, something to open the door to have a conversation and try and work closely with the chief of staff or the immigration person who's on their staff to try and get some leeway here and try and start working across the aisle. We had a couple angel families go and meet with Governor DeSantis in Florida on Tuesday and a bunch of the sheriffs down there, and working to get 287G program up and going. Iowa passed a bill last year in April that the state will not give any funds to sanctuary cities or counties.
Excellent.
And so our angel moms were talking to Governor DeSantis about incorporating that in Florida also. And so that's a piece of legislation that we're going to be moving across the country in different states that have cities and counties that are sanctuary.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I am tremendously sorry for your loss, both of you. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with my audience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We just want to tell them to go to webuildthewall.us.
Webuildthewall.us. Check it out.
We are the advisory board with Brian Kolbach for border security. The people are going to take it into their own hands and do what our politicians in D.C. want. So
I love
join
it.
us. Get in on this fight.
If I can just have a second here.
Please do.
If somebody wants to help us get pictures of our loved ones on a billboard in sanctuary cities, and that's through the Ronnebeck Institute. They can go to the RonnebecKinstitute.com.
Okay. I saw that.
Yep. The RonnebecKinstitute.com.
The RonnebecKinstitute.com, and Ronnebeck is spelled, say it for the camera.
RONNEBECK. And there's a place where they can join. And we're trying to get those funds, because I think the one thing, and Marianne and I both have talked about it, we're going to start putting pictures of our loved ones, and we want to put them in sanctuary cities.
I think that's an excellent idea. I like it a lot.
And say, I'm Grant Ronnebeck. I was killed by an illegal alien dreamer. Make those statements so that people start understanding, Brandon Mendoza killed by an illegal alien. This is what needs to start being embedded in our fellow Americans' minds because they're
We're
not
not
paying
radical,
attention.
but we want people to see that
There's nothing radical about that. What you are is brave. So
thank you.
I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate you being on my
You
show.
can go to angelfamilies.com too and check out our stories, some of the stories of our loved ones. We've got all of their pictures.
Please do. Please check that out. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Hi, that's one of my sponsors, John Campbell. Hello. These are my angel families. If you missed the video, go back and look it up once I post it. But I want to thank you guys for bravery and sharing stories. I really appreciate it. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Will be back with my next guest with another live very shortly. See you later.